Good morning. Thank you all for coming out this chilly, windy morning. My name is Wendy Zinn. I'm the Chief Social Responsibility Partner for the YMCA of Greater Boston.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm April Strack. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Boston Collaborative Food Access Hub for the YMCA.
I want to thank all of our partners that are co-locating, using the space for the past year. That includes ABCD, FoodLink, the JP Food Justice Center, the Boston Area Gleaners, Rosie's Place, NFAC, hi Rick, Vital CXNS, Food for Free, Fair Foods, and Spoonfuls. And I also want to thank the Greater Boston Food Bank because without their partnership, we would not be here.
I would now like to introduce our amazing Mayor, Michelle Wu. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you to all of the incredible organizations who brought this idea to life and who are making sure that it is making a difference in our communities for the last year and now certainly around the holidays. We got to take a little walk around and see the amazing spaces from the cold storage that is basically stretching every bit of nutrition for food that otherwise would have been wasted and sent to the landfills or incinerators, and making sure that it could get to families who need it, to the storage behind us, the packing spaces, the mobile food cart, what's the proper name? Mobile market. The mobile market out front that serves 180, 200 families a pop. It's amazing to see everyone come together, and I know this has been a long time in the planning and wishing and dreaming, and now it's here, and now we have some work to do to keep filling it up and making sure that it keeps having an impact. I also got to meet the landlords here, so to Chris and John, thank you so much for all that you've done. Thank you for taking a chance on a big idea from a whole group of advocates in the city of Boston, and we're so grateful for your legacy as a family of what you've done to invest in this area. So to David and to the entire team at the Y, thank you always for being a partner in making Boston a home for everyone. We are a city where every resident knows that this city is going to do everything that they can to meet their basic needs and ensure that they have opportunity and access to all of the benefits and dreams that every family has. Around the holidays, and especially as the weather gets colder, we are reminded that at a baseline that must include access to food. Not just any food, but healthy, culturally appropriate, delicious food. Thank you to Mass General Brigham and Dr. Elsie Tavares for your support and your leadership in the funding and connections and the maintenance and sustenance of this space, and in partnering with us in so many ways. Thank you to April Strack, the director of the Food Hub, for bringing this idea to life. And I want to just shout out a few of the partners who are here, and I'm sure everyone will remind me if I missed anyone as well. So many partners have played critical roles in making this space possible at a time when resources and food access across this country are beginning to be under attack and needed more than ever. So shout out to Rachel Albert and her team at FoodLink, to ABCD, Action for Boston Community Development, Catholic Charities, Maverick Landing Community Services, the Neighborhood Food Action Collaborative, the Greater Boston Food Bank, the Haymarket Pushcart Association, Boston Area Gleaners, Spoonfuls, Center Food Hub, and more. We're also joined by partners who are not yet in this space, but are doing so much around food access across the city. So I also want to give a huge shout out to our team at the city and our partners. Thank you to the Reverend Willie Bodrick, lead pastor from the historic 12th Baptist Church. Thank you to Aliza Wasserman and Laura Alves from the Office of Food Justice at the city. our Chief Climate Officer, Brian Sweat, our Chief of Community Engagement, Brianna Malor, Director of Partnerships, Stephen Chan, our Deputy Director of the Policy Office, Tali Robbins, who's a food guru also, and everyone from the city. Shout out to our elected officials who are here. City Council President Ruth Louis-Jean, State Representative John Moran, and I got a note from City Councilor Gabriela Coletta Zapata, who couldn't be here because she has a conflict, but was also instrumental in making the space move forward with the funding from the city. And our partners on the funding side who have made this possible, thank you for your support to Liberty Mutual, John Hancock, Delta, Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, the Boston Foundation, everyone who has been partnering with the city to make sure that every person, also United Way, thank you so much. Anyway, thank you to the 20 other groups and organizations I forgot to mention. We are so grateful to have such an incredible ecosystem here in Boston. It's been making a difference, but we know there's a lot of work to do. Last year in 2024, it was 47% of Boston residents who lacked reliable access to healthy food at some point in time, the highest on record. Since then, costs have continued to rise, and instead of providing relief, the federal government, the regime in place, has chosen to use hunger as a political bargaining chip. Here in Boston, we believe in taking care of our neighbors, and we will do whatever it takes to make that happen. So well before this White House began its assault on cities across the country, we got to work with partners like the YMCA and Mass General Brigham to ensure that families in Boston wouldn't go hungry. We're here today to celebrate the impact of those efforts. In its first year, the Greater Boston Collaborative Food Access Hub distributed 1.7 million pounds of food, the equivalent of 1.5 million meals. They sent 62,000 pounds of produce and 20,000 pounds of recovered food out to families every week. Perfectly good food that might have otherwise been thrown out or wasted. It's the single biggest contributor to our landfills, but instead, this food was delivered to families while it was still fresh. You can see it all throughout this space. Pallets of local fruits and vegetables, milk going out the door right now, brought here by Boston area gleaners, FoodLink, and others to be stored, packed, and distributed to dozens of sites throughout the city. Whatever basic human rights this federal regime tries to trample, Boston will always step up and step in to take care of our own. 2 weeks ago, the city joined the Boston Foundation to launch a fund to keep food on the table for our neighbors impacted by the cuts to SNAP funding. Together, we seeded the fund with an initial $1 million, and as we always do, Boston stepped up. Today, just a few days later, the fund is already at $3.2 million. Our partners have been helping distribute that to the whole network of organizations, some of which were mentioned earlier. So thank you to the Greater Boston Food Bank and more than 60 food pantries across the region, to the YMCA and 9 other partners who are helping us distribute this. The $2 million that have already gone out the door have been turned into 10,000 grocery gift cards to residents. So when we say Boston doesn't back down, we're not just talking about pushing back against the countless illegal, unconstitutional, and inhumane attempts this federal regime makes at dividing our communities. We're talking about continuing to be everything that they aren't. A community where government steps up to bring people together, get things done, and help all of us do what we can't do alone. Where our belief that every family deserves food isn't a question of political convenience, and where we deliver every day on the basic services our residents rely on, instead of weaponizing them when we don't get our way. This is what partnership, functional government, and a connected community look like. And this is what a home for everyone looks like. So thank you to the many, many partners and volunteers who help make this possible. And thank you for all those who are going to become partners and volunteers to make this possible. I know you'll hear this more from others on the speaking program, but we are in a time of tremendous joy and celebration, but also one where we really need everyone's help so that every family can have access to a very special holiday season and access to the basic necessities that each one of our neighbors deserves. And so if you are looking to give, there are plenty of places where your resources will be stretched every single dollar to make sure that that will connect to a family this holiday season and beyond. If you're looking to volunteer, also please reach out to us and get involved. And I'll put in a plug on behalf of April and everyone here. There is still space for more organizational partners who can, for free through the end of the year, and the more join, the more the costs are shared. But in this space, I know that they're still looking for more partners who are in the business of delivering food and providing meals and making sure that people can have access to nutritious, healthy, culturally appropriate food. Please sign up. Please join in. If you're looking for storage, you're looking for the refrigeration that can make your efforts last even longer, there's still space here, and we know that your partnership will go a long way to amplifying the efforts. So thank you and congratulations to everyone. Happy holidays. And now I will pass it over to David Shapiro, CEO of the YMCA.
Well, thank you all. Our newest mobile market, care of Mass General Brigham, which is out front, just came down from Canada yesterday, and I said to the mayor she should have strapped a tree from Nova Scotia on top and driven it down. She's a little busy, though. But I'll be quick. There's a lot of speakers, and I think, as you heard from the mayor, I feel like I should have everybody who wasn't thanked raise their hand, and then I'll thank the rest of you. But to do something different, right? To do something innovative, to do something that the wheels of capitalism don't necessarily beget, success has many mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, people. And that is the case here. That is the case here. We took an old Amazon warehouse and turned it into a place that makes the food system work better for people without necessarily the capital to get that food. Think about that. Think about that and give yourselves a round of applause. And the mayor, I think, talked a lot about covenant, right? And who upholds that covenant. And at every turn of this lease negotiation, at every turn of trying to figure out whether this could be a reality, there was a chance this could not succeed, right? And you needed a lot of people who said, this must be a success. This must be a success so that we uphold our covenant to neighbors we do and don't know. And all of you in this room, and so many who aren't, our staff who pack the food every day, who drive it on those trucks in the mobile market, they're a part of making that covenant work for more of our neighbors. And I really will just close with this, because I think there are probably three things that these times call on of us, and that I hope you take away from today inspiration, that this is an exemplar of these three things, and that's dignity, proximity, and innovation. The old systems are not going to work the way we need today's systems to work. The old partners are not going to work, are not up to the challenge. We need new partners. We need everybody in industry, for-profit, nonprofit, government, state and city are recognized in innovation and investment in this place. And ultimately, we need to take the lives of those who are uncertain about their own economic situation and make those lives easier, not harder. And oftentimes our systems make them harder. What the mobile market does, what delivering food to pantries does, what keeping more people from going to the food bank and being a last mile distribution does, what delivering food to kids at school and after school and in the summer does, is create dignity and proximity. It says we are all entitled to food as a basic human right, nutritious food that we would want to put on our tables, culturally relevant food. And it says that our standards are just as high for our neighbors as they are for ourselves. But that is a logistical undertaking. It is an economic undertaking. It is one certainly born of love, but it is also born of partnership and will. And those people are in this room. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And so we just celebrate this one-year anniversary with tremendous gratitude and love for all of you, and hope for expanded partnership, and hope that less and less of our neighbors every day have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, whether it's nutritious for their food, whether they're going to get their benefits. We need to take away that insecurity so that thriving is available to all of us. And so with that, I'll introduce a guy who delivers on that covenant all the time. He's a Y board member. You already heard about his day job, but he's one of my 30 bosses, so I know him as that. And one of the best bosses there is, Reverend Willie Broderick.
Good morning. First, want to say thank you to Mayor Wu and to David for their leadership, and to each and every one of you that are here in partnership. My name is Reverend Willie Broderick II. I proudly serve as the senior pastor of the historic 12th Baptist Church right here in the neighborhood in Roxbury. And we're so thankful as we stand together in partnership, working together to ensure that we fight against hunger and food insecurity. After we've dealt with an enduring, longest government shutdown that we've had in our country's history, and if we've seen the deep vulnerabilities that have exposed our system and exposed our most vulnerable, particularly regarding the SNAP benefits, today this work means more than ever. Today's progress of us coming together shows what's possible when a city comes together with compassion, with coordination, and with commitment to each and every one of its citizens. As senior pastor of 12th Baptist Church, I'm very proud that I serve and lead one of the longest standing food pantries in the city of Boston. And we feed upward 150 to 200 families a week, whether the president is there or not. We've always done this work. We've always had a commitment to food insecurity. We've always had a commitment to those who have been impacted by the vulnerabilities of not having healthy, safe food. And we know the pain. We know the pressure that families are under right now. And we understand the uncertainty of our neighbors. And we know that there are many who are seniors, who are children, who are vulnerable, and may not know where their next meal might come from. But that's why we came together today. That's what this work is today. It's standing shoulder by shoulder with one another and working towards a partnership that's dedicated to those who are most vulnerable in our city. And this is what each resident deserves: healthy food, so that every person across our city and Commonwealth can eat and live in dignity. As a person of faith, for me, this is not optional. It's central to the very fabric of my calling. In the Gospel of Matthew, in my tradition, Jesus says, "For when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, did you give me something to drink?" That is what today is about. Affirming and living out that mandate, and affirming that the most vulnerable in our community are holy and should be made whole. This is what binds us together, and we ought to make sure that as we work together, organizations all across the city, we're going to ensure that no child, no veteran, no senior, no elder goes hungry in the city of Boston. And we are grateful for the vision of our mayor and for every partner here. And together, we'll continue to serve. Together, we'll continue to feed. Together, we'll continue to love. And most importantly, together, we'll continue to ensure that every family has the food they deserve. God bless you.
I promise you're not going to hear from me again. I'm just the MC here. I want to introduce Brian Sweat, the Chief Climate Officer for the city. His department also oversees the Office of Food Justice, and they have been a big part of this effort at every turn. Brian.
Thank you, David. And thank you so much. This has just been a phenomenal project to work with you on, and it's great to be here today, a year after this was truly launched. I want to give a little bit more color to some of the origin story here. And obviously the primary driver and the primary purpose of a food hub like this is to address food insecurity and get food to people who need it most in Boston. But as the mayor mentioned, food waste is a major problem around the globe, and Boston is no exception. And nobody should be going hungry in our city when there is fresh, nutritious food that's literally being thrown out because our system is not working it to get it to the folks who need it. An estimated 130,000 tons of fresh food are thrown out every year in Boston. And that's just a tragedy and a crisis of our system that we can no longer tolerate. Food waste is the single largest contributor to our waste stream. Up to a quarter of our food waste, up to a quarter of our waste is food waste in the city. And it's becoming a growing challenge for us. There is a secondary benefit to this action around climate change. 8% of all carbon emissions around the world are from food waste. So if you talk about something that should be going into people's bellies and not going into emissions in the atmosphere that are exacerbating quality of life and climate risk, this project here is really a win-win. Boston is a world-class city, and we look for world-class solutions wherever we can find them, and the origin story for this innovative hub is actually pretty interesting. Back in 2023, the city of Boston signed on to the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, which we became aware of through our partnership with them through the C40 Partnership of Climate Leadership Cities. And we sent 2 members from our team in the Office of Food Justice to go study similar warehouses in Milan and learn about their world-renowned food hubs that are centers of innovation for food recovery and combating food insecurity in Italy. That trip laid the groundwork for this solution that we're standing in today. And within a year, we marshaled significant ARPA dollars from the city, and thank you to the mayor and the city council president, Louis Jeanne, for her leadership, and partnership from MGB and other philanthropic partners to allow this to become a reality. And as food prices continue to soar and Boston faces some of the highest grocery prices in the country, we know that storage, and in particular cold storage, is critical to making sure that food does not go to waste and instead goes into people's mouths. So this hub takes direct action on several of the recommendations that the Food Justice Food Recovery Assessment Report identified. 2 unique aspects: one, deep collaboration between the city and the YMCA and MGB to produce this, and 2, wholesale cold distribution, right? One of the challenges is that soup pantries and food kitchens don't have the type of storage. This is 5,500 square feet of cold storage. We can store a lot of food here and then hold on to it and distribute it as needed to local food pantries. So absolutely critical. 1.5 million meals have been made possible in the last year because of this food hub, and over 164,000 pounds of food was recovered that would have otherwise gone to waste. 164,000 pounds, and we're very excited to continue scaling this. So I'm here with great excitement and gratitude for all the partners for creating this truly unique institution that we hope to grow in the years to come. I'm excited now to invite up one of those critical partners, Rachel Albert from FoodLink.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rachel Albert, Executive Director of FoodLink, and I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, David, Wendy, April, for hosting us here today. And I also want to give a special shout out to Eva Agudelo, who has been facilitating the process of coming together as a true collaborative. Mayor Wu, it's an honor to meet you in person. I'm a big fan. So to be honest, I was hoping you'd bring baby Mira so I could hold her while I was making my remarks. Every week, we deliver to a housing development in Lynn where the residents wait 2 to 3 hours in line to access their meals. When the FoodLink truck pulls up, everyone pitches in to help unload. Folks also build boxes for their friends who aren't able to come down there themselves. FoodLink provides the food, but it's the support of the community that ensures everyone gets fed. At FoodLink, our mission is simple: to make sure good food goes to people, not into the trash. With help from 1,000 volunteers, we rescue 2 million pounds of food a year and get it right back out to families throughout Greater Boston. But with the rising need, not to mention the SNAP disaster, we've realized we have to do more. As of last week, this collaborative food hub has become a staging ground for a brand new model. Each year in the Boston area, manufacturers throw away hundreds of millions of pounds of high-end foods because of small cosmetic flaws, and nobody has been rescuing it. This hub provides the space to store and redistribute all that food. And here's the collaboration. FoodLink is sourcing the food, and then we're using the existing fantastic networks of our partner recovery nonprofits, Boston Area Gleaners, Spoonfuls, Food for Free, and Food Rescue US, to get meals quickly deep into each community. We're inspired every day by people like those residents in Lynn. With enthusiastic collaboration, we can feed so many more. On behalf of FoodLink, thank you to all our partners who helped make this possible, and thank you, Mayor Wu, for your leadership and support. And now I'd like to welcome up Dr. Elsie Taveras to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elsie Taveras. First and foremost, I'm a pediatrician, and I'm the Chief Community Health and Health Equity Officer for Mass General Brigham. And what I can probably add to the comments from today, from this morning, in addition to my thanks and gratitude for the YMCA, to the City of Boston, to Mayor Wu, to David Shapiro, to Tracy Sylvan, and so many from our team, FoodLink, and many community organizations that have made this possible, is that we would love, as the mayor said, the partnership, the creative solutions that this building and this effort is bringing to life. And probably the most important thing that I can say that maybe has not been said, the reason why Mass General Brigham is so focused and so invested in this space is not just because food is medicine, food is health, and food is academic success. I cannot help my patients with hypertension or with diabetes if they don't have access to healthy food. I can't help my community partners who are looking for ways to maintain their health if they don't have access to food and are food insecure. And we cannot expect children to learn if they are hungry and they are going to their schools without the food to keep them able to pay attention and learn. And so at Mass General Brigham, we do believe that food is medicine, that food is health, and that food contributes to academic success. Access to healthy, affordable food is just as critical to health as a prescription that I can give for hypertension medication in my clinic. Food insecurity, as I mentioned, is linked to higher rates of diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and 1 in 3 adults in Massachusetts report household food insecurity. That is unacceptable, especially in a community, in a city, in a state with so many resources. That is one of the reasons why Mass General Brigham has made food access a cornerstone of our community health strategy. We are incredibly proud. In 2025 alone, we have committed and invested more than $9 million to strengthen regional food systems, supporting cold storage, as you see here, food hubs, refrigerated trucks, and community partnerships that bring fresh, healthy foods to the communities that we serve, and we are incredibly excited. I particularly am excited and proud of our $3 million commitment over 5 years to the Boston Collaborative Food Hub. That deserves a round of applause. Together with the YMCA of Greater Boston, the City of Boston, and other partners, this hub centralizes local food procurement and distribution so that so many families across Boston neighborhoods have dependable access to fresh, healthy food, and it couldn't come at a better time. The impact you heard from Mayor Wu is remarkable, and it is, as I can probably quote Tracy Sylvan from our community health team at Mass General Brigham, it started as kind of a glimmer of hope in her eye, and her and David and so many others have made it a reality, and we really could not be so impressed, so much more impressed than the impact that it is already having. But I am especially excited not only about the cold food storage and the warehouse and the creative partnership and solution, David, that you mentioned, but about that beautiful mobile food market that is out in front. Building on an already successful model that we have really leaned in on at Mass General Brigham of flipping this switch, right, of patients coming to the hospital and receiving care in our brick and mortar institutions. We really are flipping that completely on its head and saying, how can we, in our community health strategy, be better partners, be more present, be more embedded in the community to bring access to services exactly where they are needed most. And that mobile market is another example of the ways that we are doing that. That mobile market on Monday is going to be at the Edward M. Kennedy Academy for Health Careers, where we have 9th through 12th graders that are also facing food insecurity and feeding those children and their families. The mobile food market is going to our Southern Jamaica Plain and Brookside community health centers to feed and be able to provide security for food insecure household, and for my patients with diabetes and hypertension. And so I'm especially proud and excited about that. None of this, of course, could have been possible without the YMCA's vision and leadership, and we are really fortunate to have them as partners. At MGB, we are committed to continuing this work and looking for more and more ways to do what David mentioned, creative partnerships, using data to drive our investments, using the voices of the communities that we serve, what we hear from our patients, what we hear from community members about the things that are most important to them. We just completed our community health needs assessment across the city. Food insecurity was one of the biggest priorities mentioned across every single community of the institutions that Mass General Brigham is part of. And so we are looking forward to advancing our shared goal of a healthier and more equitable Boston for everyone. And I think I am closing out the program and wishing you all the chance to please come and take a look, come and tour, go and see our beautiful mobile market up in the front. Thank you all for coming and really for being partners in the incredible work to keep our city of Boston secure in food and healthy in their food choices. So thank you, everybody.
I wanted to recognize that in addition to our City Council President and State Representative, we've also been joined by our State Senator, Liz Miranda. Thank you for your leadership. And I know we've had a full speaking program already with so many partners, but I wanted to invite up our elected officials, if as a group, if they wanted to share greetings or say a word as well. I'll leave it open.
So first and foremost, we should give it up to our mayor, Mayor Wu. You've done a lot of great things for our city, but I think centralizing our thinking around when people don't have their basic needs, none of the other great work that we're doing together really matters. If people are hungry, if they get a great job, or if they get a new apartment, or their kids get a new opportunity, that's harder and harder to accomplish and do and celebrate when you don't have enough resources to eat and be full. And the second thing I want to share is that when you hear about 1.5, what was it, David, that you were telling me? $1.5 million of food. Everyone got really nervous a couple weeks ago when we were thinking about SNAP benefits being cut. And I'm here to tell you, SNAP benefits weren't enough in the first place. Yeah. They weren't. We have a SNAP gap in the district. We're number 3rd in the state of Massachusetts for the number of people that have SNAP benefits and are still hungry. If you ask anybody that has a pantry in our neighborhoods, the lines have been longer long before the SNAP benefits were halted and paused and given back. And so food insecurity is an issue that is here to stay. But if we work together, we can actually eliminate it. And I'm just happy to be in partnership with the YMCA, with the local churches, the other food organizations, and my partners in government, because this should be the state that has no food insecurity. Massachusetts is the best state to live in this country. And we know something about eradicating things when we put all our hands and hearts together, and I'm just really looking forward to that moment.
Good morning. So I definitely want to just mention that on my way here this morning, just from Concord Square, I was so filled with joy. I got here in like 10 minutes because I was just so excited to see all the changes that happened in the last year. And, you know, it's a little bit of a heavy thing. I represent a district that has some of the wealthiest people in the state and in the country, and then some of the poorest people. So I'm very proud that in Suffolk District 9 we have organizations like this YMCA Hub. We have the Greater Boston Food Bank. We have Pine Street Inn, Rosie's Place right across the street, you name it, because I'm proud to represent a district that cares deeply about food insecurity and about making sure that no one goes hungry, as the senator was saying, in this state. And we'll do everything we can. We'll continue with the Food Caucus in the House of Representatives, at the State House. We'll continue to do everything we can to make sure that we're providing the resources to make sure that no one goes hungry in this district. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ruthie Louis-Jean, President of the Boston City Council, at-large City Councilor, and I'm so happy that I can be here today want to thank all of the partners who made this possible. David, never have I been happier to be a Y member and to know that the YMCA is always centered in the good. Mayor, for your leadership. I'm really glad that the Boston City Council was able to invest in this, and I want to shout out particularly City Councilor Gabriela Coletta Zapata, who really made sure that we got this money through on the City Council so that we could support this construction. Just about 2 months ago, a number of my colleagues and I were on a call with the Boston Food Access Coalition, and there was a constituent on who was talking about how her life had changed just from a few weeks of her having access to healthy food. She said, my skin is feeling better, right? We're talking about real tangible impacts on people's everyday lives. And so I want to thank all of the partners who are in this work. When all of the city councils were here, I was actually touring, I think it was about 6 months ago. I was across the street at Boston Medical Center having a tour of their emergency facilities. But as a good doctor was saying, food and food justice is health care. We have doctors who are now able to prescribe healthy nutrition and healthy food as a part of healthy living for patients and our residents here. As many people have said it, we do not have a shortage in Boston or the Commonwealth. We are a Commonwealth and a city of abundance. We have to figure out the distribution, and this hub is a part of figuring that out. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here, all of the different engines who make this possible. On Thursday in the afternoon on the Boston City Council, we're having a hearing on how to support our nonprofit grocers, explore alternative models, how we can continue to lean in as a city to support in the deep food insecurity that exists. And I'm just so glad to be in a city where we take this issue so seriously, from our churches to our local government to our state government to people out in community. I see you back there, Rich, for all the work that you do. It's all of us working together we're gonna take care of our neighbors, and that's what this job is all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, I do want to just explicitly mention and thank by name someone who was part of the core visioning of this in her role with the city previously. And Chief Sweat mentioned a lot of the origin story of this, but thank you to Reverend Mariama Whitehammond from her vision, her dedication, and making sure that this happened while she was with the city. Okay, questions on topic from the media? Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for coming.